I know a lot of people are talking about set pieces and, not a lot of chances created and whatnot. We asked him to find a way to win. We still didn't, but that's what he's doing.
Take a look at how teams talk about Arsenal.
Every time we thought in Spain, when the people say, in England, when it's a corner, the people celebrate it. Like a goal, celebrate the corner, a free kick. I remember perfectly when I was a young boy, so nothing changed. But it's true that I think Arsenal dictate a little bit how they do it, and is an important role.
They got a big win over Chelsea at a time where everyone thought they were crashing. Yet this is how pundits talked about them.
I feel a bit disappointed in the end, because we want to see flourish games, right? Fluid games, passing, attacking, scoring chances. But at the end of the day, we see 3 goals by set pieces for a derby. A bit strange. Yeah.
But does it matter if you're Arsenal and you're just trying to win your first title for 22 years?
Yeah, I think so, to be honest. I don't know, but yeah, I think so. Because winning today was obviously really, really important for Arsenal. But as a fan, I want to see more,
Nobody seems to like the Arsenal. I haven't seen a league leader get this much hate and criticism from everywhere in a very long time.
If Arsenal win the league, this could be the worst team to win the league.
They have a lot of likeable players who are super talented, but they're a very unlikable team. One of the most unlikable teams in the Premier League, because they moan and they groan about everything and they think everything's against them. But I didn't like the fact that they thought every single challenge should have been a free kick or a penalty or something for Arsenal.
Dark art, anti-football, set-piece FC. This is the way that everybody views the Gunners. Even Arteta has become sick of it.
I'm very happy with the way your team played. He said that you make your own rules. He specifically mentioned the 3 occasions David Raya went down injured. I mean, what is your reaction to what he said? And specifically, David, was he...
What a surprise.
Before Arsenal and Brighton had played each other, Brighton's manager Fabian Hürzeler had already tried to put the spotlight on Arsenal. He suggested that Arsenal were pushing their limits with their tactics, especially with how long they were taking during set pieces and restarts.
No one recognizes it, but when Arsenal has a corner and they are leading, sometimes they spend over 1 minute just to take a corner. Maybe 50 minutes the ball is in the game, and 40 minutes the game is not running.
In other words, he tried to paint Arsenal as the villains before the match had even started. Now, ironically, that setup ended up making things worse for Brighton, because they ended up losing in the most haram way possible. Essentially Hürzeler's worst nightmare. Once the game began, the crowd was already watching Arsenal closely for any sign of time wasting. The moment that Arsenal took a few seconds to decide where to take a throw in, the boo started, and that set the tone for the entire match.
In general, the Premier League needs to find the rule, because I think that's not football what Arsenal did there, and therefore that was more the point I made to him.
When you say handle the other stuff, what specifically do you mean that we saw tonight?
I think everyone saw it, and therefore everyone has to make his own opinion. I said it before the game, and I think now we shouldn't use too many words about this. We should more focus on the performance, what we did well tonight.
Just in terms of that though, what do you think a potential solution might be to change that?
To game time, giving more yellow cards for time wasting. So I can ask you, did you saw a goalkeeper going down 3 times in the game?
Not very often, I guess.
So
every stoppage brought more noise from the crowd. Once the ball went out of play, Arsenal were in control of how quickly things restarted, and the players were clearly not in a hurry. There was one moment that really kind of summed up everything I'm talking about. Brighton kicked the ball out of play, and Hürzeler himself ran over to grab it. He tried to hand it to an Arsenal player to restart quickly, but no Arsenal player ever came to take it. Eventually, Hincapie slowly walked over to collect the ball, and after hearing even more complaints from Hürzeler, Hincapie shushed the German on the touchline.
From a defensive point of view, they won their headers, the challenges were spot on, they got blocks in when it was needed. Anything that they needed to do defensively, they got it absolutely spot on. And that's why they won 1-0. They got the goal and then they defended for the rest of the game. And right now, the only thing that matters is getting the 3 points, regardless of how good, how bad or how indifferent you play.
The truth is that Arsenal have had to learn how to deal with these situations.
You've been labelled the corner kings.
after your efforts this season. What do you make of that and how it's been taken?
Well, we want to be the kings of everything. On set pieces, the best in the world. High press, the best in the world. Attacking open spaces, the best in the world. Best atmosphere in the stadium and the best. The best at everything. Before it was about we didn't score enough. We were soft defending. We didn't have mentality. We weren't physical enough. We could not challenge the top teams. 22 years, 17 years, 20 years without winning away from home in big matches. We want to be the best at everything. We want to have the best academy, the best individual development for players, the best of the best. Recruit the best players, best coaches. That's the aim.
Back in the 2022-2023 season, Arsenal tried to win the league playing beautiful football. They were exciting, attacking, and very fun to watch. I mean, remember in the beginning of that season, Gabriel Jesus looked like prime R9. But these guys ran out of energy near the end of the season. The following year, they added more strength to their team with players like Declan Rice and Kai Havertz. They became tougher, but they still finished just 2 points short of the title. So now, Arsenal are willing to win games in whatever way they need to. Arteta himself has recognized that the Premier League has evolved. You can't just dominate people by using an inverted fullback anymore.
And the game is evolving and the game is becoming more and more difficult. Before, when you used to do a game plan and you just invert a fullback or bring an extra player in midfield or a false nine, opponent, c'est fini. Big overload, 4v3 inside, 2v1 inside, time on the ball. So dominant, 78% of possession, the other opponent, 2 counter-attacks at set pieces, the game is done. Now, teams are adapting. Teams know after every sequence of play, whether it's a throw in, a restart of play, an open pace situation, after direct play, exactly what they have to do. And everything is almost man-to-man. So it's going to be a different game unless we change the rules, because the evolution of the game is that.
After the match, Hertzler said something interesting. He said, "I'll never be the type of manager that tries to win this way.
I will never be that kind of manager who tries to win in that way. I want to develop players. I want that my players are keep improving and keep playing football on the pitch. And in the end, of course, every team will manage and waste time. But I think there has to be a limit, and the limit has to be set by the Premier League. The limit has to be set by the referees. At the moment, they just can do what they want."
This sounds nice in theory, but when you're Arsenal and you've been chasing a league title for years without winning it, the reality isn't so simple. 3 points matters more than the style. Interestingly, despite all the talk about Arsenal's strength at set pieces this season, the winning goal against Brighton came from open play. Now, it wasn't exactly a high probability chance. Saka's goal was actually one of just 2 shots on target that Arsenal had all game. And according to The Athletic, it carried an expected goal value of just 0.01.
Saka cuts inside, drills one in, and it's in!
I wasn't joking when I said that Arteta, almost out of spite, played the worst football possible and still beat Hertzler. Now, some Arsenal fans might still be worried about the team's style of play. The win against Chelsea a few weeks ago wasn't that much better. But right now, it doesn't matter. At every single stadium, Arsenal have become public enemy number 1. Yet Arteta and Arsenal continue to have the last laugh, at least for now. What's funny is that Arteta has always been a pretty diplomatic manager. Most of the time, he chooses his words carefully. He avoids unnecessary drama and keeps things respectful with the media and the other coaches. But recently, it feels like even he's had enough. You can tell that he's getting tired of some of the narratives that constantly surround Arsenal. The criticism, the talking points, the way every little thing they do becomes a storyline. And if you're an Arsenal fan, honestly, it's refreshing to see Arteta push back a little. Instead of just politely brushing things off, he's starting to give some of that energy right back to the media. Like, even though he's a calm guy, he couldn't really hide his frustration when it came to Fabian Hertzler. The tension was pretty clear. I mean, you could see the annoyance on Arteta's face and hear it in his response. Now, the thing is, the players also understand the situation too. They know they're not always playing well, and that the football hasn't been pretty. But football isn't always about looking good. Sometimes you just have to do what it takes to win. That's why the criticism from some of the fans maybe feels a bit unfair. People complaining about the style of play forget that the players themselves probably don't enjoy grinding out results like this every single week. But when the situation calls for it, that's what you have to do. And it's funny when you think about how things used to be. Not long ago, Arsenal were the punchline of the Premier League. Fans from other clubs love to laugh whenever something went wrong. I mean, the perfect example was when Arsenal conceded a last-minute equalizer against Wolves. I mean, the jokes wrote themselves. How do you tie the team that's in last place? But the jokes that they tell about Arsenal now are very different from the jokes they used to say about Arsenal. Because for years under Arsene Wenger, Arsenal played some of the most beautiful football in the league. It was so expressive, the highest quality of technical ability, and so creative. The team would dominate possession, they would string together these endless passes in the final third, and produce moments that were genuinely amazing to watch, even if you were a neutral. But there was always one big problem. The results never matched the style.
Ashley Cole. And Drogba! Same old story. Arsenal play the football, Chelsea have the goal.
And that's when the criticism started. People said that the team was soft, that Arsenal lacked courage, that they had no leadership, no mentality, no fight. Basically, the message from the outside world was that Arsenal needed to toughen up. So eventually the club listened. What we're seeing now is the result of that change. Arsenal still have elements of that classic Wenger football. The technical quality, the passing, the creativity, it's all there. You see it especially in open games in the Champions League. But now there's something else mixed in there too. There's more physicality, more aggression, and a much stronger defensive identity. Sometimes it's as simple as scoring one goal and then shutting the game down. It's not glamorous, it's not entertaining to watch, but it's effective. And maybe most importantly, what Arsenal now have is the confidence to stand up to teams that used to bully them. Like these guys would lose to Chelsea all the time. Now they beat Chelsea all the time. So instead of getting pushed around, they're the ones pushing back. That's what makes the whole situation around Arsenal a little bit ironic. For years, they complained that Arsenal were too soft, too naive, too focused on playing pretty football instead of winning. Now that Arsenal have become the opposite of that kind of team, the goalposts have been moved. The complaints have changed. Suddenly, the same rival fans are basically saying, please go back to playing nice football again. You know, the kind of football that made you look good, but allowed us to beat you. Because when Arsenal were soft, everybody loved talking about how they lacked the mentality. But now that they have developed some toughness, started winning some ugly games, and are standing their ground, it's making a lot of people uncomfortable. It's very easy to notice that the tone around the Gunners has changed. Maybe it's because they're doing well now and are back to being an elite team. So many people are preying on their downfall. Over the last 3 to 4 years, they've been one of the most consistent teams both in the Premier League and in Europe. The squad has clearly improved every window. Their football has become more controlled, and their overall level has gone up year after year. But recently, the reaction feels different. There's a sense that a big part of the Premier League fan base is actively waiting for them to slip up. When Arsenal win playing well, the response is often that the league is weak.
Because the competition's been not been great, has it? You never know with City though. If City get the defenders back,
oh yeah, City could go on a run. City could go on a run now and win every game at the end of the season.
When they win a tight physical game or score from a set piece, it turns into corner FC or boring Arsenal.
Did you see that yesterday? The top goal scorers for Arsenal, the third in their list is own goals.
Yeah.
No.
It was amazing yesterday. Did you see the stats as well on Sky, which they did, saying about the least amount of goals the top scorers scored? Yeah. I was surprised at that. Yeah.
When they lose, everyone treats it as a celebration. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone was supporting United when they beat Arsenal at the Emirates. It was seen as ethical football versus Dark Arts FC. That game was an example that many people are not watching to see how Arsenal play, they're watching in the hope that these guys lose. Another reason for the hate might be the fact that this team is very different from other top sides that we have seen dominate the Premier League. Arsenal don't really have a standout attacker. If they end up winning the league, their best players this season have been a central midfielder and their 2 center backs. When it comes to goals, it's spread out. They don't have a guy like Haaland, Salah, or Kevin De Bruyne. There's nobody carrying this team with goals and assists. Saka was always supposed to be that guy, but the 2025-2026 season was not one of his best, and yet Arsenal kept winning. By best, I mean statistically. He's still doing his role for the team, but we've seen him get better numbers in previous seasons that Arsenal ended up not winning in. Some people will argue that Arsenal just do not play good, exciting football, so it's hard to back them. They don't look like the Liverpool team that won in 2020, or the City teams that we saw dominate in the past. But Arsenal fans will tell you that it's hard to play entertaining football consistently when everyone and their grandmother parks the bus against them. Everyone plays to not lose rather than to win when they play the Gunners. I mean, see the difference in their performances in the Champions League versus the Premier League. Champions League teams play more open, so Arsenal can actually attack. I mean, look at what these guys did to Inter and Atletico Madrid and Bayern.
Martinelli! Oh, what a goal! Superb from Arsenal! Bertley there with the outside of his boot. Saka with him. And Gyökeres will go for goal, and Gyökeres will curl it home. Martinelli goes, Neuer's out of his goal. Martinelli should be in here. This will be 3 for Arsenal. And Martinelli has scored.
Now, this is typically what happens when a team reaches the top. Success brings scrutiny, and the standards get raised. Every performance is judged more harshly, and the margins for praise get smaller. You also start to see the goalposts move because people expect more, and because it's easier to downplay success rather than admit that a rival is doing something right. So now Arsenal find themselves in a strange position. In the Champions League, they were basically perfect. They finished the league phase with 8 wins out of 8. Then domestically, they were sitting at the top of the Premier League table and even made it to the Carabao Cup final. Normally, those kind of results would silence the critics, but somehow that didn't happen.
They were, but again, you talk about coming back to, we talk about XG, but in terms of set pieces, what we saw at the start of the season, this thing was brilliant, it was amazing. I'd never seen anything like it before. Everybody in the stadium, whether you were an Arsenal supporter or the opposition supporter, felt like it was going to be a goal from a set piece, but you can't have that threat off every set piece, it's impossible.
Did you see that yesterday? The top goal scorers for Arsenal, the third in their list is own goals.
Yeah.
No.
It was amazing yesterday. Did you see the stats as well on Sky, which they did, saying about the least amount of goals the top scorers scored? Yeah. I was surprised at that.
Despite leading the league and dominating in Europe, Arsenal still face so much criticism about how they play. Some people have even questioned whether this team actually has the quality or style of play to be a memorable champion. Now, a lot of that criticism started after a rough stretch they had in the league, where they had 2 frustrating goalless draws against Liverpool and Nottingham Forest, followed by a loss at home to Manchester United. Those results sparked a lot of debate about the team's attack. Many critics pointed out that Arsenal's forwards were just not scoring enough goals, and they began to argue that the team simply lacked the attacking flair that great champions usually have.
That's his 5th goal this season. He doesn't look, for whatever reason, it shouldn't be the case because he's been in the English leagues before. It looks like he's really struggling with the physicality of it because he's a very big guy. I very rarely see him win a duel one-on-one when I thought he could have physically overpowered people. In terms of his finesse and touch and bringing people into play, not good enough. He's finding it tough. He needs a little bit of confidence. I don't think look, he's never going to be like a Bergkamp that's going to bring the ball, roll people and play little clever passes. He's a battering ram that's going to score goals and make big moments and hopefully win you games. The argument tonight, yes, he won the game, but he won it with a penalty. Now you want to see him winning games with like really important goals, that are going to make the difference in the big games.
One of the loudest voices in that conversation was Paul Scholes. When he was on Sky Sports, he didn't hold back when he was discussing Arsenal's style of play.
It was when I first saw the team. When I saw Arsenal's team, I thought, yeah, they might control possession a bit, but it's not a team to go to Anfield and win. Do you know what I mean? They weren't going to go and put on a great performance, blow them away. They couldn't create chances. They just signed Eze, brilliant footballer, creative. Odegaard, the most creative player they've got. Now they bring a centre forward in for one of them players, because everyone's saying Odegaard's not great last year, he's not got a centre forward to pass to. So they bring the centre forward in and don't play Odegaard. It was just a little bit of a negative mindset, I thought.
He also hasn't held back on his own podcast.
Arsenal can't win a big game.
No.
They can until they start winning big games. They've got no chance to win the league. Who was it? Liverpool, they got beat. City, they couldn't beat. City was struggling and they couldn't beat them at home. Yeah. Villa, a team who again, look, they're a really good team. Villa, don't get me wrong, but they can't win them games.
Was it Chelsea where they went down to 10 men? Chelsea.
Yeah, couldn't beat Chelsea. No,
Villa are a top team.
Villa are a good team.
Villa are a very good team.
I think, Nick, if you're going to win the league, you've got to start winning some games at some point. You've got to beat your rivals, and they can't do it. No.
For Scholes, Arsenal relied too heavily on set pieces to win games.
If Arsenal win the league, this could be the worst team to win the league.
To shout.
If you're thinking of picking a team of the season and you pick a front four, the Arsenal team gets in that. Look at previous champions. You think Liverpool's forwards brilliant.
You put Saka in, wouldn't you?
Possibly the only one, Saka. Yeah, possibly the only one. And I don't think he's been brilliant. I don't think he's scored that many goals this year or assists.
Then you had other people who were questioning whether Arsenal had the individual quality that champions normally possess. While discussing a possible team of the season, Carragher basically struggled to find Arsenal attackers who could make the lineup. Comments like that only added more fuel to the debate around Arsenal, because some people believe that football should be about style, creativity, and exciting attacking play. Others argue that winning is all that matters, no matter how you do it. After all, this isn't the circus. circus. Arsenal don't owe it to anyone to entertain them. Their job is to win. But then others counter by stating that it is possible to play beautiful football and win. We saw Liverpool and Manchester City do it. So now, Arsenal sit right in the middle of that debate. They don't play the most entertaining football, at least not in the Premier League, but they keep finding ways to get results. And if they end up at the end of the season lifting these trophies, no one's gonna care. Cause does it matter how a champion wins? Or just that they win? Now, one guy who is helping Arsenal win ugly is Gabriel. The guy's been an absolute beast. To see how good he has been, you have to watch this video right here.